Old souls, young souls, and all my damn souls in between. Welcome back to another week of Old Soul in the Young World with your host, Jesse Ellie. Hey!
I'm surprised you got that on the first hit.
You know? Yo, that was impressive. You know, guys, we are out here, episode 3-0, the big 3-0. Yes. We made it, episode 30. And for tonight, I have a very special guest here, Mr. Anibo, Mr. Biba.
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm doing really good. I'm so happy to be here, and so proud of you.
Oh, thank you. And we've been talking about this for a bit now,
yes.
Having you come on, because I feel like, you know, we're both people who like to chop it up. Mm-hmm. We like to talk about relevant topics.
Yes.
We like to talk about things that are popping off, going on, maybe a little bit of gossip.
Exactly. It's always good for the soul.
You know, we had some things pop off this week. You guys are going to find out in a little bit.
Right.
If you didn't hear, you're going to hear here first on Old Soul Young World, I'll tell you that. You know, cheers to you, Biba. Cheers. Thank you. Yes, I'm cheersing with my whole bottle.
I mean, I'm not surprised at all.
Queen shit up here. You know, we kings and queens. Mm-hmm. Everybody tuning in every week on Old Soul Young World. You know, guys, I just want to give a quick shout out to you. If you've been with me since the beginning, thank you. If you're just tuning in for the first time, thank you. We are here just chopping it up about good vibes, what it means to be an old soul, young soul, any type of soul in between, and how we feel about different topics. You know, it's not a yes or no type show. It's not a right answer, right question. It's just about vibing. So the people that I have on the show like to do the same things that I like to do. And I feel like, you know, even if they don't, they still bring something to the table, their own aspect, which is why I wanted to have Biba on. So we actually both went to school for communications and journalism. Yes. He did go a little further than I did, graduating with his master's last year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's such a huge, huge goal to overcome. Know how much work it is. Like, I can't even imagine. We'll get more into that. Yes. But yes. So shout out to Biba.
Thank you.
Of course. But, you know, what I wanted to have him on to talk about was, you know, a little bit about journalism communications. There's been so much that's changed over decades in history, in the past. And I feel like we don't stop sometimes to think about that shit.
Right.
You know, we get caught up. We live in the 21st century. There's so much going on around us. And, you know, I've known Biba for... when I try to think back now,
right? I mean,
a decade. Like, it's been a lot. I was a baby.
I first started coming around your sister, maybe about a decade ago. So yeah.
So I met Biba through my sister Jamie. Shout out Jamie. We love you. You're awesome. She was also on one of my episodes way back in the day, Green Room Pot. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. She's just dope. But yeah, so thanks to her, me and Biba ended up meeting.
Yes.
And I was always, you know, me and my sister are like 4 years apart. So I was always chilling with her and the older cats and, you know, just getting involved in what was going on. And I feel like that actually contributed to me having this podcast because it made me an old soul in the young world. You know, I learned things before my time. I got to talk to people who already had like an older perspective than me, which, you know, sometimes helped me to steer myself in the right direction and maybe not make some of the choices that I see my sister make or whatnot, you know.
Okay, like
shout out Jamie, but we all, we know who's the better child here, right? So don't talk shit.
Okay, a little shade.
Don't talk shit, right?
If you can't see, at least I'm sipping tea. You hear that?
Biba's like, let me just sip my champagne and stay quiet. But so I just wanted to have you, you know, I said you went to communication school, you're into journalism. There's so much more to you. Like, you're the funniest fucking person. You're always such a light in the room. You always just bring such a positive vibe, I feel like, whenever I've known you. But that's just for me. So, like, do you want to introduce yourself to the people?
Yes. So I'm Biba, and I have a bachelor's in communication and a master's in journalism, but I don't want to read my resume here. You know what I mean? I just have I've always been a very opinionated person. I want to have conversations that are fun, but I also want to have conversations that are that turn into debates, like at least healthy, respectable debates. Because I feel like learning other people's perspectives are important, and I've always been that person even before school started.
Right.
So that's why I'm here.
Yes, he's worldly. He's knowledge. Yeah. He likes different diversities. You know,
I don't have. I don't discriminate.
Don't discriminate in the show. We don't.
Right.
We don't give a fuck what you are. You can be, black, white, green, big, small, in between.
Right.
Ooh, throwing some bars out there. You feel me? Nobody expected that.
Here we are. Okay, right.
And shout out to Richie in the studio tonight helping us out.
What's up, guys?
What's up? We always appreciate you. Shot for shot. Follow me on IG. And so what, I know you like talking to people and you like communicating, but going into communications and journalism and wanting to take that as like a career path, is that something that you expected for yourself? Are you like, was that always your goal, or you're kind of moved into it as time went on?
That's a good question. I just feel like my personality kind of led me in the direction, but I'm still not even there. So I feel like what I once thought is just who I am, I didn't really know that I could turn that into a career.
Yeah.
And then once I started to research and understand more about the industry, I realized I'm like, ooh, this is kind of hard.
I felt the same damn way.
I'm like, this is kind of hard. Yep. So I actually, when I got into school, I thought I was going to do accounting because I'm like, okay, like, I don't know. I'm from Chelsea, so I don't know if no one's from Massachusetts.
Shout out
it's
Chelsea.
A very small little city.
That's all.
So, it's just like I wanted to just make money, but then I came across a communications class, and the freedom to just think and say and hear.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is much more my vibe. And then I ended up moving to LA. I did
When the fuck did you move to LA? Did I miss this part of your life?
I moved to LA 2015 for a year and a half, and that's when I did red carpet hosting stuff. So I did like a training over there. I did some interviews with like on red carpets and stuff, and that's when I started to realize I'm like, I can make a career out of this in the sense of my passion, but it's not the glitz and glam that everyone sees. I wasn't getting paid. I was very much broke. And whatever. So then I moved back home, and then I'm like, how can I go corporate to get those like long-term deals, whether it's a contract of 3 years, 5 years? And that's why I decided to get my master's in journalism, because I feel like regardless, the skills can go, anywhere.
Either way.
Even though I'm still not there.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
That's amazing. I didn't even know you did that red carpet shit.
Yeah.
Did you like meet anybody?
I mean, yeah.
Some little names. Oh, okay. Sip that tea.
Subtle flex.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, it's funny because even while I struggled to like be who I think I wanted to be, I never put those people on blast because, I've had a few experiences.
I can imagine. And that's the thing. Things aren't always what they seem. You know what I mean? So like, I got into communications journalism for a different reason. Like, everyone has their own, whatever. I was never that outgoing person. I was never, as we were talking about my sister, she was that one. Like, you know what I'm saying? She was that girl. And I was kind of like, why aren't I like that? Like, I don't know. I feel like I have a lot to say, but I'm not the one who steps in the room and is like, everyone listen to me. Everybody look at me. Like, I'm just never been that type. I'm more of the like, I'll see the vibe. Let me see what the vibe is.
Are you more of an observer? Is that what it is?
I'm more of an observer. I'm like an extrovert introvert, which is weird. Like, I'm very much so an introvert where I like spending my time alone sometimes, and like I need to like take time to myself to re-energize, or my battery I feel drained. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm in the room with too many energies for a whole day, I'm an empath, so I'm just eating all those energies, and I'm just at the end of the day, I'm like, like, yo, what is my energy? You know what I'm saying? So I really have to be careful and disconnect. And when I went to communications, it was kind of like I wanted to make a difference. Like that, I know that's why, a lot of people say, oh, this is why I went into it, like, want to change the world. But I really felt like there's so much fucked up stuff going on. If I get in, I can say it. I can call out the fucked up stuff. I can say this, I can say that. And, as I got into communications, like, as we say, it's not always what you think. No. So I realized, like, you can't always say what you want. Even though there's freedom of speech, you cannot always say what you want in journalism. You can't always be calling out these big companies in a certain way or whatever. You have to have your facts straight. Everything has to be backed up. You have to be careful of your sources. Like, I've seen things go wrong. And you know what I mean?
Even sometimes, like, when I've gotten hired by production companies, they kind of they tailor what type of content you're actually going to submit to them.
100%.
So not only do you have to be careful what you say, sometimes you can't even say. Like, in other words, it's like they'll give you an idea of what they want. Like, they'll be like, I'm sending you to this carpet to get this. So tailor your questions to get that information. Like, don't be yourself. So sometimes it's like, that's what you need to, like, it's not always the person behind's voice. It depends who they're hired by, depending on how big the corporation is, of course. If it's just like a random like little thing where you are able to have a voice, then that's great. But if you're hired by a big corporation, sometimes your voice is their voice.
Exactly. And you don't really, have a say in it when you're put in that position because you are the middleman at that point.
Check.
You want to check,
you want a chance.
Yeah,
to eventually have a voice.
You want an opportunity.
Right.
So you're like, oh, how do I get an opportunity? Well, I do what they say.
Exactly. For the beginning, and then you get into trouble.
Yeah. So there was 2 instances that I realized, it wasn't for me. And like, I went to Salem State. I love Salem State University. It was a great school. It was a great local commute for me. And they did have a great educational journalism communications program. But there was one issue that I had with it. And I was on the school newspaper. Ooh. So I wrote for the school newspaper. We did like, the video editing. You have to interview people, edit your own stuff, present it to the class, all that shit. But also outside that, like, I was working on the school newspaper and in the classes. So for one of my classes, it was a final paper for like passing the class. You know what I mean? It was whatever it's called, a midterm. What's the end of the year one? A final?
Yeah, final.
Yeah, final.
Right.
So it was a final. And it had to be based off something relevant to do with journalism communications or just like an opinionated piece. Like, it needed to be opinionated but factual. So, knowing me, I wanted to go for, something that I felt was something I could speak out about. Like, I felt like it should be something that I had to say. And something had been bothering me about the program I was in, and that was not having them require me to have outside experience to graduate the program. You could do outturn, like externship or an internship or whatever it is. So I did do one with the Lynn Daily item. But it wasn't required for every single student. And it wasn't like, I just feel like if you're in a communications journalism program, they should literally be like, okay, so these 10 people are going to be at this company. These 5 people at this company. Like, you should be put in a position outside of school where you're able to see what it is to be in a newsroom, what it is to work with real people who are doing this. You know what I mean? Just real life experience. So I wrote this article. I got a really good grade on it. We published it in the school newspaper because my teacher for the class was also running the newspaper. So we worked like pretty closely together. So we put it out, and, I'm about to be graduating in like a couple months. It's the end of everything going on. So I think I finished in December, and then my graduation was like in May. Yeah, like, or whatever. So I finished in the winter time. And I will never forget this, yo. And like I said, shout out Salem State. I appreciate everything that they did. SSU. But literally I got approached, and my teacher got approached by the president of the school to remove my article from the newspaper because it was not factual. Yep. And I was like, what about it isn't factual? Because I was never required to do this. So pretty much, like, that's the thing. And this is just a small scale. Like, I'm a student. I'm putting it in a school newspaper. It's not like it's being published in, like, a city, whatever, and, like, people, like, whatever. And freedom of speech. I should be able to say what I want and how I feel. So I spoke it. And what happened? They wanted to take it down. You know what I'm saying? I think that just says in, like, a very small scale compared to everything else that happens in communications, there are things that needs to be silenced. There's things that get swept under the rug by people who you don't have a say. It's not like I could be like, no, I'm keeping it there. Like, that's the fucking president of the school. Yeah, we're taking it out of the newspaper.
And you're challenging their curriculum.
I'm challenging their curriculum, and I'm making a bad name for them because I'm questioning something that maybe they just haven't thought about. So it's not even a bad thing. It could have been a chance for learning, for consideration. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, let's make a change to the program. Or let's consider, why does she feel that way? Right. But instead, it's like, shh, don't talk about it.
Or at least respond to it on a campus basis. Obviously, you're not responding to 7 News. Right. But you can respond on a campus basis. Like, this is the reason why, whatever that reason may be.
Exactly.
It maybe would have given them an opportunity to at least explain themselves.
Exactly.
Even if it was BS.
Mm-hmm. So I just think that overall, in general, it's like a very you have to like almost like step on glass kind of sometimes when you do journalism, because it's like you said, you're doing what they're telling you to do.
Right.
You know,
or if you challenge the wrong person, you'll be silenced. So yeah.
It's like, imagine if you work like way high up in like a magazine or, you know, you're an editor, this or that, and they don't want to put your content out. Is there going to be an argument over it? No, it's either you're going to not do it or you're going to lose your job.
Right.
Type shit.
You always have to match the voice that you're working for, which can manipulate your work. So, but the viewers that are consuming this information are not realizing that.
Exactly.
It's just your name.
Exactly.
So you end up getting a bad reputation as a person versus not realizing. But we can't expect the average person to understand the backstage.
No.
But it's
because if you're not involved in something like that, then you won't know. Exactly. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people are like sheep in a way. Like they're just, you know, taking in. Like if you're just taking all this information. And the one thing that I will never forget that I learned in communications is you question everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? And ever since then, maybe it is the way that I am. I literally question everything, everyone's intention, resources. Like even if I'm reading a published article, I'm like, oh, where'd they get those facts from? Let me go double check this article. And they told me in school, if you're reading a Fox News article, go look at a CNN article. Go look at a Washington Journal article.
Right.
See the difference between the way that they word the facts that they're putting out and how they're being biased to manipulate your thought into a certain thinking. Just like you said before, you know what I mean? It's like without saying it, we're still making you think that way.
Exactly. It's a voice. It's a voice of that publication of some sort. So it could be the same topic, but two different perspectives.
Facts.
It's up to you to figure out either to listen to one or to listen to both and create your own.
Yeah. And it's like, that's what you kind of have to do with everything in life. It's like, I feel like you have to make your own narrative. No matter how many narratives there are, it's like...
Yeah, but I think that and a lot of times nowadays, people are creating their own narratives and it becomes problematic.
It does.
In my opinion. Because a place like Twitter, people are spitting opinions and calling them facts. That's a problem.
Yep. And then it comes right back to them, too. Because everyone else on Twitter is like... What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Like my uncle told me this and he saw it from the news and so this becomes fact. It's like, is it?
Yeah.
But you're treating it as such and viewers are treating it as such. So you have to be very careful, but no one is. So that's the problem is that like you want to have your own voice, but a lot of people have the wrong voice. Not the wrong voice, but everybody got a voice.
Everyone has an opinion.
Everybody got a voice, and should I be discussing what's happening in I don't know Oklahoma? Like how valid is my point from Massachusetts? You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But I will read one thing on Facebook which is super problematic, and all of a sudden I know what I'm talking about when it comes to transgender rights,
right?
Because I read one article,
right,
girl, right.
Exactly. Like, come on, like do your research,
right?
And I think the thing is too, like what you said, it's almost like social media nowadays is media. Yeah. Like media outlets. And it's like, it's not, guys. Like, that's not the same thing. Even media outlets sometimes are not the most reliable source. So how are you going on looking on Twitter or whatever it is and getting your information based off there? You need to do your research.
Yeah.
And I know you learned this too because you went for a master. So it's like the things that we're consumers. What do? We consume.
Right.
We consume everything. We consume advertisements. We consume the words that they speak, the media they put out, the food that they put in front of us, the president that they put in place, anything, we just consume it because that's how we were taught.
And technology tailors what we click to what we see. And so our pool becomes smaller and our window becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. And so the more you know, the better in the sense of what platform you're using. Right. So like with Facebook, like I think it was like 71% of people get their news from Facebook. Facebook has so much fake news. It's ridiculous.
So much.
So the more you click, Facebook will tailor it to more content that matches what you click.
Yep.
So you don't realize that you're really it's narrowing the street that you were once
on. Is that
on.
like SEO? Is that the same thing?
It's like a search engine operation or whatever. Yeah, basically. Something like that. Like basically like when you search something on Google, all of a sudden you find it on Instagram now. So I think like people need to understand like how technology works. And I don't want to like bash technology. No. As long as you know how to use it
a tool.
And you know what it does, you're just I don't need like not everybody wants to research. No one gives a fuck just like we do. Like when we're like, oh, I want to see what this article, what's really behind it. Okay, fine, whatever. But at least know if you go to a table and all of a sudden you read one article and you're like, nah, this is what the truth is. It's like, girl, you read one article on Instagram by someone that you call that has a platform on a major show, and you don't even know their credentials, because not everybody on a show is a journalist.
Facts.
And journalists have to, and I'm not like defending journalists. I'm just saying, like, if you are a journalist, like you're trained and skilled to get sources,
right,
to like verify sources. If you're just a commentator or correspondent, you're speaking on a headline that they're giving you, and you're giving your opinion on it because you are more of a personality, which I love. I'm not bashing that. Like, I love that. Right. But just know who's talking.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's just like that person has a personality and a voice. They go on that show and they're there to give you the topic, like the headline, and then their opinion. But they're not going to say, this is my opinion. Right. It is their job to just speak on it. So you're taking it like, oh, but they said this and they said that. It's like,
even talk show hosts, it's like we expect facts through them. We expect news through them. People take what they say seriously. It's like, yo, it's just crazy because my mindset is so different, but the masses of people really do take this to heart. Like, fully to heart. Like you said, read one article. Bitch, I know everything. You know what I'm saying? Like,
all of a sudden they're like an activist.
Where'd you come out of? Like, you came out that closet real quick. What the hell? Like, you don't know nothing. Like,
you saw one Netflix documentary and all of a sudden you're an activist.
You
Girl,
know,
no.
It's crazy. And like, even with things that I'm like,
no,
like,
it's
girl,
a no for me. It's a no for me.
Excuse me.
I know.
And it creates like, you know, negative reactions between people, and it causes people, like we were talking about off air, to be canceled and to be involved in this cancel culture. And like, what even the fuck is that?
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
So
like,
what is your opinion on cancel culture? Should cancel culture exist?
I feel like cancel culture has always existed. I think we just named it. I think it's been uptaken by social media.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? I think the media in general does cancel people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Once you do something wrong in the media, it's only a matter of time where they move you out. It's like, you know, like, just for example, like if you see celebrities dating, how many times do you see articles after you see that initial picture of them? Oh, they're together. Oh, they're pregnant. Oh, they're in a relationship. Oh, they're this, they're that. Like, it's like all these fucking stories that follow. In a way, I kind of feel a way about cancel culture, because it's like somebody puts something on the table and then it's like, okay, well, everyone's gonna fucking jump on that now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I'm not wording that the best, but I wish cancel culture was not a thing. But I feel like now, since social media, since TikTok, since Instagram, since everything, Twitter, it's going to continue, because the amount of opinions that people have, it's going to, I don't know how to explain it, where it's like a domino effect. Like, if somebody puts out a negative comment about somebody, even if it's false, you know what I'm saying? Like for example, Chrissy Teigen right now, she's in cancel culture, and this bitch is depressed.
What the fuck did she do?
Apparently she bullies people online. So she's like,
is it that whole, like the stylist thing this was like months ago, no? Or is it something new?
It's like been ongoing.
Okay,
apparently she like bullies like a bunch of people online. Something Stoden, like, I don't know, all these females, like she's put out like tweets like, oh, I hate you, I hope you die, like you should like end your life. But it's like from 2000, like, I don't know, like 15 or 16 to like now. So I
don't want you to see what I was posting in 2010. First of all, I see it on Facebook, and it's not even like cancel worthy. It's stupid worthy. It's like embarrassing. So I don't even know. Some people be digging up shit in 2005, and like I didn't even know how to spell in 2005. So just like leave it there.
Yes,
but it depends on what it is. And I think cancel culture, like, it depends on your platform. You can't talk to me, Biba, and then talk to someone that, like, Chris Cuomo. We're not the same.
Right.
So I think, like, we have to hold him to a different standard than you would hold me. Because, like, who the fuck's listening to me?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Not to say I should be saying some stupid stuff, but I think that depends on the platform will determine cancel culture. I'm not necessarily, like, I don't stand behind it. But I think that, like, if you have a huge platform and you're telling people to, like, beat on a certain activist group or something like that, and let's say you have like 3 million, I don't know, 30 million followers, then I think there's a responsibility that either that social media platform has to not necessarily like block you or like you can't have an account, but I think to put it down, because people can get hurt.
Yes.
But again, I don't think that it's a slippery slope if you start canceling people, because then the freedom of speech comes in, and then our country versus other communist countries. So I think it's a slippery slope. But if you have a big platform, like, I think that private companies like Twitter and Facebook should monitor and weigh out and have a whole team to figure out, like, okay,
Is that an appropriate comment?
Chris Cuomo, I'm not that I have anything against him, just the person that we're talking about. In a little bit.
Yeah.
If they if he has 10 million viewers and he's telling people to jump on, I don't know, whatever group, whatever minority group.
Yes.
I think there's a responsibility to hold him accountable to some degree.
Definitely.
For sure. Because I think that like you're not using your platform for good. You can give your opinion about, I guess, a situation, but if you're definitely going to come across like a ringleader of violence, then I don't know.
Yeah.
We should talk.
But it's like, where's the line? Do you know what I'm saying? Because we cancel culture for Chrissy Teigen online bullying for the last couple years and bringing back tweets and shit that she said.
Well, Chrissy Teigen, if she tells someone to kill themselves, and if you tell yourself, if you say in your grave, like, I kill myself, because, like, bitch, you had another problem for you. You know. Because, like, Chrissy Teigen told you to kill yourself, doesn't mean you go kill yourself.
Like, yo, doesn't that mean maybe Chrissy Teigen has some problems going on? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, we're all human. So it's like, how are we canceling humans? Like, yo, cancel yourself then, because you're not perfect.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we cancel that. We cancel fucking children's books. They want to cancel fucking Dr. Seuss.
Yes.
Yo, they cancel like Pepe Le Pew. It was like all these like things. And it's like, I grew up with that. You know what I mean? So it's like, were we not sensitive enough? Were we like so fucked in the head that we thought like sexual harassment or like bullying or joking is okay?
I think like exposure, really. I just feel like we didn't really talk about it back then, to be honest. Like, I wasn't for the Dr. Seuss cancellation, not that we're going to talk about that, but in the sense that, like, I think use it as a teaching moment to talk about what happened when he was writing that stuff, like what the world was like.
Yeah.
And then you can give your opinion on, like, wow, this guy is, or whatever the case may be. Yep. But I don't think you should take the book away, because I think it speaks to what happened. I think when you start to mute people's experiences, because, like, slavery happened. Of speech. Slavery happened. Yeah. Racism exists. Like, you have to talk about those things. So, I mean, if this guy was painting pictures and it was racially, discriminatory, it's not right, but use it as a talking point. Don't use it as, like, get rid of it, because I think you're gonna, like, I think education is the best thing. Information is the best thing as long as it's factual. And
like, what's our history books gonna look like? We're just gonna get rid of everything in it?
It doesn't have a Q
like,
history.
You guys don't want to teach people about slavery? Like, is that cancel culture?
Right.
Because that was facts.
Right,
like,
exactly.
I don't know. I have a hard time finding where the line of it being okay is. Do you know what I mean? And, like, I think cancel culture is honestly, to me, it's like whenever I see it, there's a trend, like a cancel trend on TikTok or a cancel trend on Twitter. You know what I mean? Everyone, hashtag cancel this person, hashtag cancel this. It's like, where is that coming from where we feel like we have the right to shut people down and shut people out? Like, we all have a say. I think the freedom of speech and canceling is like literally like a hair thin from each other. Do you know what I'm saying? Because you should have the right to say what you have to say, but if it's affecting other people negatively, we want to exactly call it out and use it as a teaching point.
Right.
Not completely take it out.
Right.
I don't know. Right. So that's just how I feel. I mean, even just for an example, like, this is, like, I'm a young woman. I believe in, women's rights. I believe in everyone having equal rights. Every human on earth, no matter who you are, if you're an alien, I think humans and aliens should have equal rights. Fuck it. We were all put here for some reason. You feel me? Like, we didn't have a choice. So, like, just accept everybody. But, like, there's a book I read when I was in high school called Lolita. I don't know if you ever heard of this book.
No, I never have.
Okay, so anyone listening in, and I will say before I start this, the book is fucked up. If you're looking at it in an overall perspective, the book is fucked up. It's about a pedophile. Okay. And it's about a pedophile being romantically in love.
I mean, I like reading fucked up books like that.
With a young girl.
It has nothing to do with me, but I think it just keeps me page turning. So, like, talk more. Go ahead.
Like, yeah. So the thing is, I read this in high school. Okay. So I was underage. I was reading this book. It's about a man and a child falling in love. They switch off in chapters. So in chapters, he'll be talking about her. In chapters, she'll be talking about him. The way that they both express the love for each other is like a couple that is literally in love, passionate. They care about each other. It's like weird. And I don't know how to explain it. I'm not saying I agree with this book, but they wanted to cancel the book. They wanted to take it out of libraries, have it like non-published, like all this stuff. The writing in that book is probably the most beautiful
Wait, first of all, how did you come across that book? Was it assigned to you at high school, or you found it?
It was one of the. It was like one of our reading options.
Was it,
dude? It really was. So it's like, does that not say how much things have changed? It's like I'm in high school and I have an option to read this book.
Well, here's the thing,
and it's in our school library.
Well, here's the thing: is that when it comes to kids and stuff like that, I think it's. I mean, the parents definitely have to be involved in some, in my opinion. I mean, but my opinion is parents have to be involved because I don't want my 14-year-old reading whatever they want.
Right.
Because I think that I want to introduce any type of topic with them. I want to be open. I don't have kids, but I'm just saying. So the book shouldn't be taken off the shelf. But I think, I mean, you can't control who's going to read it. So I guess my point is not, there's no point here. Okay,
the thing is that I'm saying is like that physical writing in it is such beautiful, like actual, like English verbal writing, like the way things are described, in the way sentences are wrote, in the way that the book is formed, in the thought formation, that it makes you think like, wow, like what is this? Like you're almost confused for most of the book until the end. And then you realize, oh my God, it's a fucking pedophile and a child, like being in love. Do you know what I'm saying? But, and I know it sounds so fucked up. Like, I feel weird even saying this, but it was a book that changed my thought process because I was like, wow, it is like so crazy reading about something so wrong and something so like, you know, taboo or whatever, but in such a romantic, beautiful way that like literally made me feel like, wow.
So when you say beautiful, you mean like in the sense that like, the story was conveyed like easily with your mentality at that time. It's like, what do you, like, you understood the story?
I
like, what was beautiful about it?
Like the way they described love.
Okay.
Like they were describing love not as if it was like a pedophile relationship, just as if love is pure and how that relationship is like when you really care about somebody. Like it described that. And like, when you find out about that, then I was like, oh shit, this is fucked up. You know what I'm saying? But I have a hard time because I'm a writer. I'm a very, you know, I have a good head on my shoulders. I'm clearly not somebody that, you know, believes in any type of thing like that. But that book helped me with my writing. I don't know how.
So you connected it with that level. I think it's more so about like the conversation that you have after you read a book like that. Because I agree with you. I think those books, not the pedophile in particular, but those very controversial, effed up books. Let's be 100. Like they deserve to be on the shelf for sure.
It happens.
Think, it's real. It makes like, you think and stuff like that. I just think it's the more so the conversation that comes after it.
Right.
It's what's going to determine, like, I guess, like your personal interpretation of it. You know what I'm saying? Like for you as a writer and as a creative thinker, it helped you understand what writing and story illusion, storyboarding, and all that stuff.
That's the thing. It was such an illusion. I was like, holy shit! How did somebody even write a book like this? Like it was like,
but then again, if it gets into the wrong hands, you get with a 14-year-old, you think it's okay to be if a 25-year-old tells you that they love you, then this book tells me it's okay. Yeah. Then we're coming into a problem.
Or a pedophile reason is like, oh, it's okay to have a loving relationship with a child. Because it's romantic. But it's not romantic.
Because the book, it happens and whatever, the book should still live for sure.
But then we're going to a conversation, it's based off that person. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we all have things we've been through to give us the perspective that we have. Some people could handle that book and the perspective and concept it had. Maybe some people would trigger them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we're literally all different. So just to bring it back, like cancel culture to me is almost so hard to define or put my finger on because we're all so different. Like it's all an opinion, you know. And I think that when we put things out there, like, oh, we're canceling this person, like, what are you doing by creating a ripple effect of negativity? You know what I mean? I think there's ways of coaching and teaching people to rehabilitate, maybe to be better or question their thinking. I don't think we need to cancel.
I agree.
So.
All about what you do with the information, whether it's controversial or not. It's more about the conversation. But I still stand with if you have a really big platform and you're purposely being vulgar and condoning violence against someone that's gonna hurt. I think you know it's a slippery slope. You should just be like consequence culture.
Yes. I would like to touch upon that.
Culture.
Yes.
Cancel culture.
And I completely agree. And like, I don't want to make this completely political, but we are both interested in politics. Yep. But like, from my perspective as a young white woman, I am, maybe people don't know this, I am actually neutral on my voting. I am not Democratic or Republic. I claim independent.
Nice.
So it's just what I always felt because I didn't even want to vote when I was younger.
Okay.
I felt like I thought it was a lie. I thought they were always tricking me, like, oh, the man has his puppets, like, you know what I mean?
Sam.
And I still maybe believe that, you know, that might still be there. You never know. But I will say whether I'm neutral. I'm coming from neutral ground. Trump had a very large following and he used it in a very negative way. And I think it's like, okay, nobody cancel cultured him to the point where it was like, do you know
they
what
tried,
I'm
but
well, they tried.
I mean, he had too much power for sure.
So I agree with you. It's like if you have that platform where you know you're influencing a whole fuckload of people who maybe are the sheep. They're not the wolf. They're the people who are looking for somebody to give them information, looking for someone to guide them in a direction. You know what I mean? They can't find their own direction. They need somebody to tell them where to go.
Exactly. And the thing is, like, Trump's voice didn't activate. He didn't really influence that many people. I think those voices always existed.
They did. They needed somebody to say it,
the only good thing that happened out of that is that we saw the true colors of a lot of people. And I think that it highlighted the things that nobody wanted to talk about. Like I said, these books that I talked about racism or slavery or depicted black people in a certain way, like get rid of it now. It's like, no, there's still people here that are racist. And so he just exposed them all.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't agree with it at all, but I'm just saying, like, he didn't, like, create these beings. These beings existed. They just felt like they had a platform now.
And when they felt like someone more powerful than them was saying the things that they were already thinking, like, yes, now I can do it openly. Like, yeah.
Which is my exact point. It's like consequence culture. Like, the insurrection, like, the list goes on when it comes to things that happen. Whatever party you affiliate with, violence is a different conversation. You understand what I'm saying? And so I don't ever condone violence. So 100%. I just think that, like, you can believe in abortion or don't believe in abortion. That doesn't mean you go and become a doctor and start killing people that are getting abortions. Like, bitch, you don't have a PhD in shit. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, stay in your state, and if you don't want an abortion, don't have one. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Or if you don't believe in gay marriage, don't be gay and don't get married to a gay man. Whatever you want to do, just like, do what you got to do, but, like, in your own house.
And, like, I just want everyone listening in to know, like, how facts on all of that. Just want everyone to know listening in, like I said, I am very, like, neutral. Like, I try to give very neutral opinions because this is a show where anybody could be listening in. So I want everyone to feel comfortable knowing that. And it's like, even though I do see that he used his platform negatively and influenced a lot of people, like what you're saying, it created a chance for change and for coaching and to realize how much racism we still have, how much negativity we still have, how much we don't accept diversity still, or different sexualities, or for example, since all of this happened, it's so funny. In the company that I'm actually leaving, they started putting out more diversity and inclusion trainings. They started promoting Asian. They started promoting every week. They were sending corporate communications emails. Oh, we promote this person. We promote this person. VP this person. Started checking them out. Asian, Black, Hispanic. Like, and I'm not saying in that way, but I know that as a business aspect from the turmoil that's happening politically, they have to also match that. Do you know what I mean? If this is being called out and employees are starting to feel uncomfortable, what are you going to do? Well, now the company has to make changes. So why wasn't diversity and inclusion being put out weekly before that? Do you know what I'm saying? Why wasn't Asians and Blacks and Hispanics being promoted last year? Like, that's almost like, damn, so wow, you guys really needed somebody to shake you up and realize how like, backtracked our mindsets are just to pull us up to speed. You know what I mean? Just
do you give credit for change, or do you think it's almost like for like brownie points?
I think.
Do you consider it change or brownie points?
I think it's both. Like today, so today I get an email. What are they doing? They're sending out new name tags that you have an optional choice to put your pronoun. So now you can choose he, she, or they. Why? Because there's so much more things going on in the trans community and stuff going on with LGBTQ and people feeling like, they need their voices to be heard because of everything that's been happening. You know what I mean? Everyone wants their voice to be heard. So I see it as a change, but I see it as a change for brownie points. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
They both can exist in the same universe,
They're kind of interchangeable in a way. You know what I mean? I don't know if you've seen that in your company or in anything else.
No, I definitely see it because people feel like they're being hired into certain companies for diversity points. Regardless, I agree. They both exist in the same universe, but just like when I used to look at colleges, I would look at the diversity numbers, and it would be like 8% Latinos and like 10%. I wanted to go to a diverse school.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, like, even when I got into Emerson, which is a really good journalism school, like, this white woman that I worked with was like, "Oh, did you get in because you were Spanish?" And I was like, right. So I was like, no, I actually got a scholarship for my academic grades. By the way, suck my right. But that's the mentality that people have. It's almost like, did you go in for a diversity hire, or did you get in for a diversity student, or whatever the case may be?
Yeah.
That's a whole other topic.
No, I completely feel you.
That's a whole other topic.
But it's true because it just highlights those things that we're not doing efficiently. You know what I mean? So whether it was cancel culture or racism or the politics or whatever, even though it has been negative, I feel like in the long run, we're still shooting for change. Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's the mindset, at least. And I think that, not to cut you off, but in the sense that just whoever's qualified for the position, don't look at the color. That's all I care about. I don't like if a white guy ends up getting chosen because he's qualified, then so be it. But as long as everybody, no matter the name, no matter the background, can sit at that table who's qualified. So if we all have PhDs and we're all going for this whatever job, I don't care what your name is, if it's freaking Jolie Silani or if it's whatever the case may be, as long as you're able to sit at that table and may the most qualified win, I'm good with that.
Exactly.
But for the longest time, not everybody can sit at the table. That's my point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't stand for like now all of a sudden Hispanics have to be in every place in government or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But if they're qualified and they're up against someone who's white and they're more, then they should be able to get it because before they couldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
But if the white guy gets it, then it should be because he's qualified, not because he's white. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But for the longest time, let me repeat, it was because they were white.
Exactly. And I mean, this is a little off topic, but I don't know, you just, somewhere what you were saying brought it up in my mind. I was reading this article the other day. It was on Snapchat. It's probably not that reliable, just so y'all know.
Right. Speaking of.
But I'm still going to bring it up.
Right.
So it was this like real estate company in the South. And she's a white woman who's like the head of the like whatever real estate, or maybe it was a lawyer firm. I don't know. It was one of the two, but she was the head of it. And there was people who worked under her who were having candidates like set up interviews with her for this job position that they had. So they had set up a African-American candidate, and afterwards she sent out an email, a mass email to all the staff that worked in the office saying, this, in all cap locks, this was a waste of my time. I told you, do not send me any more black candidates. We work with a white clientele and they are not going to feel comfortable working with that. And then she put again, this is a waste of my time. Do not send me anymore.
My mouth is open, by the way.
Yeah, his mouth is literally dropped. So the Spanish girl who worked in the office went on TikTok. You know how people do those things where like they'll show like the email and then their face will be in front of it, like they're like cropped in front of it.
Right.
And she was just like looking at it and like while like the email was like, it was like showing the email, and I'm like, holy shit.
So let me play devil's advocate for a second. So if she's the owner, I'm not giving my opinion. I'm asking you a question to just see where your mind goes.
Okay, yes.
If she's the owner and she's profit driven and she knows her clientele and she makes money off her clientele, what would you, if you were a financial advisor, what would you have suggested that she have done?
Financial advisor?
In the sense of like, she's profit driven, I'm assuming, because she's running her own law firm or her own real estate. And
well,
if she knows that her clientele.
That's the point that I want to bring up, because it's such a inaccurate racist statement, but at the same time, if you're looking at it in a business owner perspective where you know all your clientele is white people from the South who themselves are probably racist, having a real estate or law firm or whatever it is, black, African-American or black person come in to help sell a product to them is probably not going to be the best move on your part. Was the way she addressed it correct? Was the way she addressed it correct? I would say no.
I would say no, absolutely either.
How are you going to send an email? Do not send me any more of these type of people. Like,
100%.
Yo, come on.
I know that was awful.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking like from a business standpoint, I'm like, that's awful. But let's say, for example, like I'm from Chelsea. Should I put a Gucci store on Broadway in Chelsea? No one can afford that.
Of course not, because they'll get fucking robbed.
But that doesn't mean that I should talk bad about the people that live there, because that was me.
Facts.
Understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I agree with you that the message she gave isn't right.
Yep.
It's very disrespectful. And who knows where she stood with her values. And don't kill me for this, because I'm not racist. I wouldn't want to serve people that have that mindset. But if she's profit driven and she's in a community that is very close minded, then she's like, do I pay my mortgage or do I try to be cute for diversity? Because then it brings back to diversity
and that
points.
Was her, like,
so are you hiring this person for diversity points, or are you hiring them because it matches your values and your morals? It's like everyone's being tested. It depends on your perspective, and it's like. That's why some people don't even choose to be in certain industries, because they're like, they don't want to run that line.
Exactly.
They don't want their money to reflect their morals. But some people just separate the two. And so if that Spanish woman doesn't mess with her boss's morals, then she got to bounce. Because now she's not a part of it.
Because you're working for the wrong company.
You're working for the wrong company.
Yeah.
But...
so that's the thing. I think,
it's tough, because it's like, I'm not agreeing with her at all. I don't want no one to think I'm agreeing with her. I'm just thinking, I like you said, you're neutral. I'm not the most neutral. Like, I definitely lean left, but I'm definitely like a moderate if you want to speak political terms.
Yeah.
But I definitely try my best to assess every situation with an open mind. I try my best. I mean, if you come at me telling me like, oh, like gays should die, like we're probably not going to have a conversation. But I'll
just punch you in the face real quick.
But if you come at me with like, you believe in abortion and I don't necessarily do, then we can have a conversation, because you can talk about why you don't or why you do, and we can have a conversation. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But in this situation, I try my best to be like, okay, is she trying to pay her mortgage, or is she trying to spew more hate? If she's trying to spew more hate, you're awful. Because if she's client-based, she's not gonna. It's not her job to educate them. It's their job to educate themselves. She's having
pressure put on her. Do you feel me?
Yeah. I don't know this lady. So maybe she is racist. I'm not saying that she's not, but but we don't know. That's the whole problem, is that we don't know.
Exactly.
So if you're going in and you're selling, Avon makeup to bitches that wear or I don't even know, like if bitches that wear Dior, like, then you're gonna be like, you know what? I'm not gonna bring Avon to Linfield because they're not gonna open those doors.
Wear it.
They're not gonna
exactly.
wear it. Does that mean that I think that people are broke and they should have more money? I don't know.
It's just not the clientele.
It's just not the clientele.
But so why I wanted to bring this situation up,
the way she said it was awful.
The way she said it was wrong. And don't ever put something in writing that you don't want.
Right.
Let me just repeat this to everybody listening in, because we are in such a tech culture. Do not ever put anything in text, email, or writing, or voice messages, or voicemail that you do not want someone to hear in the future, because that shit will come back to you one day. That's all I'm saying. Right. If you have some shit to talk that shit in person.
Today. You may have money today, but in 10 years, if someone comes across that email, you'll be broke then.
You seen that coming up? There's people in the Olympics and people in like random like high up positions. They'll pull tweets and shit from like 10 years ago, 5 years ago of them being racist. They get canceled. They get cut.
This is like so ADHD. But I didn't know a lot of sex happens at the Olympics. And
what?
I'm so off. That was news to me. And I know. It's like, but that was just so random. But they told me that. They were like, oh, a lot of like.
Who told you this? What resource? Now call out your resources. Right, no, it
was just like friends with like, because everyone's like attractive and they're all in the hotels and they all just like screw each other. And I was just like,
kind of like makes sense in my mind.
It makes sense.
And because they're probably all single because they like.
But like, I read, but I didn't read that.
Yeah.
And I kind of believe it, because if you think about it, everyone's like pretty fit. If you're into fit guys or fit girls or fit whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, wow, like everyone's fucking in Tokyo right now.
Facts.
That's interesting.
Wait, can I say
you should
also?
Be training, but that's kind of like training.
Wait, but also because you're I mean, you're like practicing, right?
Yeah, I guess they're like active, but like I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like.
No,
it was a serious conversation, but like you said Olympics, I'm like, oh shit, I just learned that everyone's fucking over there.
Right the fuck into Olympics. That is cool with me, because we got a lot of shit going on in Olympics too, and like they all single probably because you work your ass off all year.
You don't have time for a man or a girl.
When are you gonna have a relationship?
Training.
You're gonna be with nobody, so they probably do all go and hook up, and fuck it. I mean, they deserve
so interesting.
it.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
No, that is interesting. Hey, anyone watching the Olympics, they probably had sex the night before, so I hope you're picturing that now.
Imagine. And you know what they say, like, with sports people, it's like, oh, like, don't have makeup sex or even sex at all, either the day before a game or whatever, because it, like, fucks with your, like...
Your
mindset towards the games. Did you guys ever hear that?
It's your hormones, too, right?
So boxers do that. So supposedly you can't have sex before a match.
It's your hormones, isn't it?
Yeah, right. Your testosterone levels.
Yeah, your testosterone. Yeah.
Isn't that bizarre?
It's crazy.
Right, because
it like makes sense in a way.
Like, don't release no shit.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right.
Like, keep that all built up. You know what? Should take some notes on this. Take some notes. Everybody take a year off.
No, I'm not an athlete. At least I don't think.
You might be.
You're
pretty fit.
It's very interesting. I mean, I try my best, but I'm really like I think it's more for looks. I try my best.
I look at my muscles.
But yeah, it's so interesting. Oh my God, that was so sidetracked. Oh my God, kill me.
Well, since we're on the Olympics, can we talk about Simone Biles a little bit?
About why she like let go, like whatever she did?
Just like, yes. Like, in a way, so many people fucking hated on her. So I heard people even at work talking shit about this girl.
Happened? First of all, so in case the people don't even know, because I don't even fully know.
So she was on the Olympics team, obviously the U.S. team, going for gymnastics, and she's like the top of the top. Mm-hmm. That's how I'm saying it. Like, she gets the gold medals, she does the shit, she runs the team. She was like the leader of the team type shit. Like, everyone was betting on her. She pulled out. So she went on, I think it was a beam. If anyone's listening to this and I say it wrong, I'm so sorry. But I think she was doing like a beam routine of some sort. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Those like beams?
Yeah.
Yo, is there another word for it?
We don't have technical terms. We're not Olympians, so it's fine.
So she's doing some type of routine.
She's doing what she does.
She's doing flips and shit.
Right.
She goes to land. She lands horribly. She like horribly, like she doesn't even like land on, know how they land on their feet
elegant.
like cats. No, she like falls. So she said that she had this
like cats.
Cats meow. Yo, we're drinking too much champagne today. So anyway, she lands, she like falls, pulls out of the Olympics. The next day she tells like people she's not gonna do the next like, they have like different like routines or like whatever they do in different days. So she pulled out like the next 3 events that she was supposed to be in. It was like a floor routine.
Reason? Was it mental health?
So she said mental health. That's
but
the
you're
thing.
Saying that it's because you didn't land, bitch, so you're embarrassed? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's not what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
So she said she had something called twisties, which I didn't know what it was, so I had to go do my research. Everybody do your research. If you don't know what something is, go look it up. So I didn't know what twisty was, so I looked it up, and it's when they're flipping in the air, they get lost in where they are in their flip, and they don't know when they're landing. So she said that like it's almost like an out-of-body experience, like you're flipping, and your body is like physically moving, but your mind doesn't know where you're at in that. So when she landed, she was like caught off guard. Like she said, like her mind was all fucked up. So she didn't even know she was landing at that time. Like that's what twisties is apparently.
Well, the thing is, we all know, even if you're not a sport, like if you don't watch it, like Olympians go through a lot. Like they have arthritis when they're 17.
No.
So I can imagine
the
mental stress, because the discipline it takes to get there. So I mean, I don't know what twisties are, but I believe in them now.
Yep. So anyways, but then she put out a whole statement saying that she was playing out for mental health reasons.
Okay.
And a lot of people started hating on her. And even I heard people at work, like in the break room, they were talking like, I heard a lady say this. She was like, she let her whole team down. How could she pull out? She literally let her whole team down when they trained, and she knew she was going there, and she knew it was going to be stressful. That was her like prerogative of it. And she wasn't even saying to me, she was saying to another colleague, and I just like overheard, and I'm like, damn, that's really how you think about her? This is like a young ass girl. Yeah, you know the Olympics is going to be stressful, but it doesn't mean that when you get there, you know how your body is going to physically react to what you're doing.
If you're not mentally there, then I mean, is it about your team? I don't know. I mean, you're an athlete, you're an Olympian, so I guess it's a very fine line between it's an obligation, but also if you're not in the right mindset, like for example, like you're a creator, you're a writer.
Yep.
If you're having a really bad day where your mind is fogged or whatever the case may be, it's not allowing your creativity to flow.
Right.
So you're not going to be able to perform. You're not going to be able to write. You're not going to be able to do whatever your case may be. So, I mean, I guess she has a responsibility, but I do understand that if she physically is not in the game, she's not going to perform. So I'm going to pull myself. And everybody knows she's the baddest. So I guess it's really just about her. And
I feel
we're an Olympian. So whoever had that opinion, like, girl, you can't even do a cartwheel.
Like, you've never done that shit.
Right.
You've never done that shit.
We don't even know what that is. That's the whole thing. Is like, they're like, oh no, you're supposed to just pull through.
Right.
Like,
you know how it feels supposed to flip in the air 6 times and your mind feels so fucked up you don't know when you're gonna land.
That's why they're all fucking in the hotel.
Training since she was like 5.
They literally have.
They have to get the energy out. They need to fuck
They're all
the
mentally
time.
fucked. Like, literally, they're not having sex. They're not laughing. They're just training all the time. Like, it's just like, I can imagine their mental health not being there even before they get there.
Exactly.
So, I don't know. I'm not judging them because I do a really cute cartwheel, but I can't do it on a beam.
Dude, I fucking bet you do. Wait, like an actual cartwheel?
You guys are hysterical. You guys are
I feel like we should have our own show together. The Biba and Ellie show.
Right. Oh my God. No, I can't.
But I feel like overall in general, though, it was mature of her. You know what I mean? And she has a man. Maybe she wasn't having sex there. Maybe her mind was all fucked up. And she was like, she needed to get home to her man. Who knows?
Girl, there's world hunger. If you didn't win the gold this year, like, and people bet on you, if you're even betting on Olympians, you have money to spend. Because I'm not betting on nobody.
Fucking facts.
I'll send you a tweet and say, good luck.
Yes.
But, like, I ain't betting money on you. So if you're betting money on her, like, you have money to spend and you're the dumbass anyways. Or whatever the case may be. People be invested in too much shit.
Exactly.
But I do understand that, like, she has an obligation. She knew what it was. But if she was in the right mental state, that's on her.
And she said, she was like,
if she let her team down, then let her teammate say, you ain't shit.
Yeah.
Let her do it. Because they both trained together.
Yo, she was supporting the fuck out of her team. She was still sitting there supporting them.
And then she re-entered, no?
She did one more.
Okay.
She did one more. I don't know how it went. I didn't end up watching it. But like, she was there supporting her teammates, and her dropping out almost gave some of her teammates the opportunity to get gold, which is dope. Like this girl, like Sunny, or I forget what her name is, Suni Lee, or I don't know, I forget. But she got gold for like the first time. Like it's like amazing. Like it's like, I don't know.
Maybe she prayed on it, Sunny Lee, or whatever the girl is.
Yeah.
Imagine she's like, how am I going to win if Simone or whatever's in it? And if Simone's mentality was not there, so she's like, boom, the universe was in my favor. And now Sunny Lee is a gold member.
Facts.
So whatever.
Facts. And I just want to tie in for everybody listening in. I think everything that we're talking about is just about, there's multiple perspectives. Because we're about to bring up a very... an important topic, a relevant topic, but something that a lot of people have different opinions about, and could be like, you might not agree with what we have to say, but the thing is that everyone has their own opinion. And I think that the last few topics we talked about, between Lolita, between Simone Biles, between Trump, the companies changing sexual harassment, diversity, all that shit, everything about that. It's all just showing you that everyone has an opinion. Everyone's doing stuff for a different perspective. Your perspective might not be their perspective on it. Do you know what I'm saying? And you have to take a step back and be like, it's not even affecting me. Like, it's not affecting my life. Why am I so stressed about it? Worry about you. Worry about your perspective, changing your perspective, understanding what you believe. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to hate and cancel everybody for decisions they be making based off things we don't know. We don't know who's behind them. We don't know the puppets who are pulling their strings. We don't know the people who are talking in their ears. We don't know what their own mind is saying to them. Do you know what I mean? So who are we to judge another human when we are just human? So that's all I'm fucking saying on the show, is that the conversation we're about to get into, very deep, very relevant topic, very political. We're going to have our own separate opinions on it. I hope you guys have your own separate opinions on it. And just get to, hear us out. Just hear us the fuck out. Biba, go ahead.
Oh, I'm taking it off? Okay.
Take it over.
All right, so we're talking about Andrew Cuomo, right? Okay. So Andrew Cuomo just resigned this week. Depending on when you listen to this, it's August. So just,
So it's going to be like, he resigned a week ago, pretty much.
Okay, so let me just be... I'm in the future right now. So he resigned because he was actually charged with sexual harassment or assault. Or I think one of the...
I think both.
Both, right.
Sexual harassment.
And I think...
And so to us, this was yesterday. So he resigned.
Exactly.
Today is Wednesday, the 11th, and he resigned Tuesday the 10th. Yeah.
Exactly. And so he was actually charged with these cases, which is the difference. I mean, I'm not a criminal justice major at all, but I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you can be charged for something and then you could be convicted. The next step is whether you're convicted or not.
So they said even if he leaves, even if he decides to resign, he could still be impeached weeks later.
Exactly.
Kind of like how the president was in that position.
Exactly. And so he was charged with sexual assault and harassment. I think they had like 140 interviews. They have like multiple forms of
there was 11
evidence.
Technical
He was telling girls like, would you have sex with an older man? stuff like that. And so he was basically forced to resign. And a couple of days before that, I think it was last week, he still went on and he responded to the charges and still said that he was innocent. And then the public and social media spoke, and whatever type of advisors are around him convinced him to resign, which in my opinion was a smart decision. I wish everybody across all aisles was held to the same standard. Because there's a lot of allegations and there's a lot of not charges. I don't want to say that, but a lot of people in similar situations are still living in those positions that they're in of power. So I'll just say that.
Hashtag Me Too movement.
Right.
But I think it's very controversial, this topic, because even I question the facts. I question the truth between his story and their stories, and
well, you don't need to question any. Well, I'm not going to tell you what you need to do, but I mean, with the Southern District of New York, which is like one of the highest forms of court or whatever the hell it is. Again, it's not my major. Yeah, is the one that did the investigation. So for me, the investigation's done.
Right.
He hasn't got convicted, but he's been charged. So it's enough to charge him, which means that shit happened. You understand what I'm saying? And so when we talk about voices when it comes to journalism and you kind of matching the voice that you work for, I think at this point, I lost my train of thought.
Don't even worry. No.
At this point, it goes back to women in particular, not only, but in particular, they're fighting for whatever type of promotion or a chance at whatever they're going for. And they're subjected to a lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
To be quite honest.
Yeah.
And that's not just women, but it's a majority woman. Yeah. And so it's if this intern is in and she just wants to make it in as an anchor, they're subjected to a lot of bullshit. I mean, I don't know how else to say that. Yeah. And so a lot of this stuff happens. It's been happening. It will continue to happen. And I think examples like this is going to force people to be responsible. And it's you're in a professional setting, respect. You understand what I'm saying? Right. Your fantasies, I'm all for fantasies and fetishes. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right. But it's different than expressing it verbally to a colleague.
And I'm not highlighting assault or harassment. What I'm saying is that if you are fantasizing on a blonde woman, but your wife is brunette, porn.
Right.
Porn that. You understand what I'm saying? Don't do it to your intern because, would you like it done to your daughter? Would you like it done to your wife? You understand what I'm saying? And for the longest time, women didn't have rights.
Well,
and if you spoke up, you didn't have anything. Nothing happened. Yeah. And so people gave up. Right. And so nowadays it's put up or shut up, and it's gonna catch wind nowadays. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm happy.
And I think that's a huge thing too. What you just mentioned, it's women and men. Equality in the workplace is still not equal. You know what I'm saying? Anyone who thinks that shit is equal, you are fucking mistaken. Right. That is a fact. Right. If you want to ask me, then go compare a man and a woman in the same position and look at their salary for the year and look at what the fuck they make. There is going to be an increase in the men's salary because that's how we've always done it. Right. And if you continue a pattern of continuation throughout generations in history, it's going to continue as that manner. You know what I'm saying? We are just now breaking a barrier where men and women are starting to become or working towards becoming equal in the workplace. It does not mean that sexual harassment is out of the workplace. Right.
I mean, just this week, I have an example. I'm not going to mention names, but my coworker, she had her review and her team lead told her she needs to wear more skirts and dresses. It's what
was that, a joke? Was that a joke?
No, he was serious, she told me. And she was wearing dress pants. So she was like, are you serious? She's like, yeah, you need to dress up a little bit more. That's effing nuts.
That's fucked.
That's fucked. She's in dress pants.
Fucked.
So why the
She's
fuck?
Dressed appropriately, so you shouldn't say shit about what she's wearing.
You need to wear skirts and literally.
Would you say that to a man?
Week.
You need to wear what, shorts to work? What?
I want to wear shorts to work.
Yeah,
real
why can't
shorts
you? Damn, let him wear the short shorts. Why does he have to wear the dress pants?
No, but it's that was. When she told me that, she went to HR. So she just got switched teams. I mean, it's a whole thing nowadays. Yo. But it's that's you're talking about her performance, and you're bringing up that she should be wearing more skirts and dresses. Mind you, she is the only black girl on the floor.
Oh my God! It just keeps getting worse.
Right, exactly. So I'm that's funny because it's is it not like, what is she not dressed up enough because she's black or whatever the case may be? Yeah. That's real interesting.
Right.
Would you say it to a white woman? I don't know.
Right.
Maybe you will because it's women and women, but I think that has nothing to do with her performance, and it just happened in 2021.
It has 0%. Exactly. So if anyone is questioning what we're talking about, it is facts. I'm not saying every single thing that happened and what we're talking about is facts in itself. But overall general of equality between men and women in the workplace is not equal at all.
I think generational stuff, as people start to die out, no shade, it's always going to exist, but I think it's going to become less tolerable. As you see, people are being convicted, people charged, they're being convicted, they're resigning.
Yeah.
It's not at the pace that we want it.
Right.
But I think that as we have these conversations, podcasts didn't exist 50 years ago. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. 100%.
Women couldn't even work. Women couldn't even have credit cards. Like you want to get down to the nitty-gritty.
There's still countries women can't go to school.
Yeah, they can't drive.
You feel me?
You can't drive.
This is still going on. There are literally third world countries that young girls cannot be educated. Mm-hmm. They cannot be educated.
Right.
Like, I don't know how else to put it to you guys. 2021, women still can't have their rights and opinions to themselves. Not in America, but it's still in this world. Right. You feel me?
Where do you draw the line as a woman that's determined to be successful or to go for that position? Where do you as a woman draw the line between what you would put up with, and be honest, like what you would put up with for what your goal is? Because I think that's the biggest problem. Problem doesn't mean that that you should be choosing one or the other.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's the biggest battle that a lot of women have. It's like, how much should I put up with in order to eventually get that position? Mm-hmm. And I think that even me as a man, I put up with bullshit to see where it would get me.
Yeah.
So I don't you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course I do.
It depends. Is it individual? I don't know.
I'm not gonna say I have never been sexually advanced at work, because there has been times. And you know what I think the thing is that we need to understand physically, in a physical dynamic aspect, it's not fair. You know what I mean? If I'm going to work and I'm dressed professionally and I'm wearing a skirt and a blouse and heels because that's what, I'm supposed to wear for my job, and that makes me look attractive, and then somebody wants to say something to me, is that fair on my end? Is that fair that I'm dressing for my job and my profession and I'm being given sexual advances because of how my physical body was molded by the universe or God or whoever created me? You feel me?
Or your mama?
Or my mama? That shit ain't fair. You know what I mean? And it's I just think that's where we get to the point where it's okay, well, let's be equal then. Why don't you say, oh, wow, you're to a guy, oh, your ass looks so fat in those dress pants. Why are you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There just has to be an equality at one point where it's not sexual advances just towards women, because I feel like in the workplace now, a lot of that happens and a lot of it gets swept under the rug. Mm-hmm. And I was talking, to a coworker about it, and we talked about generational differences too. Older men who have been in the industry forever, who work in offices, corporate America, they grew up in a time where women are less than men, and they still are, but way less than men. Do you know what I mean? You're a housewife, you do the work, you do the cleaning, you do this, you do that.
You don't say shit, you just operate.
You don't say shit.
You're mechanical.
I mean? So if they come into work and they make a sexual joke towards you, that's funny. You know what I mean? You better shut your mouth, because that's funny. That's not something you should take disrespectfully. You should laugh at that. Mm-hmm. Why? Why do I have to feel I laugh at that? You know what I mean? Because we're from two different generations, and that shit can be taken out of context in such a way, her. It's yo, that should have never been said to her.
Right.
Especially
and
during...
I think that even women to women sometimes do it because our higher up...
This ain't just men to women. This is women to women.
And so, an older woman at our job said she's being too sensitive. And it's no, it's just because you're 30 years older and you had to go through worse, and that's not fair to you.
Yeah.
But you're saying that because you had a tolerance, because that's what you had to deal with at that moment, that this younger woman should have that same tolerance.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think that's the thing. It's guys, there is no right or wrong, but it's being fucking respectful to everybody. You know what I mean? Understanding.
How about saying it in your mind? We can't control everybody's mind. Let's just keep it 100. You know what I mean?
I'd be
thinking some things about my boss too and stuff like that, and all that stuff, whatever, whether raunchy or inappropriate or whatever the case may be. But do I say it? No.
Right. Do I verbalize that? No.
No.
I would never, because that's inappropriate. But some people don't have that social cue. You know what I mean? They're thinking thinking, oh, maybe if I make this a joke,
It's the power
then it
trip.
will be less than
Right.
less, like it won't be as awkward. And then maybe they'll feel like, oh, they can get an in because I have a higher power. So then they'll want to be involved in it. You know what I mean? And I think in Andrew Cuomo's case, that's how the news portrayed it. That like pretty much he was
utilizing his power to condone his behavior.
Right. And for one of them, she said he groped her, that he went up her blouse and he squeezed her breast over her bra, which obviously we all know is sexual harassment.
Absolutely.
So that's like a off the bat, yes. But some people would even say you're lying. Do you know what I mean? Even if she's saying that, you're coming on national television, you're embarrassing yourself, you're putting yourself out there for every man in the future whoever is going to date you to know you went through this. You think you want to put yourself in that situation if it didn't happen to you? You know what I'm saying? That's the thing that really gets to me. So that's one person. The other girl who has actually come out and done interviews about it, oh, fuck, I wish I remembered her name. I don't remember her name. But I'm going to look it up in a second. But what she's coming out and saying is the way that he was speaking to her privately when he called her in privately to the office. Do you know what I'm saying? And she had texts that she sent to her friends afterwards that backed up what she has said. And so pretty much when she got called into the office, she was saying he was asking her, do you date older men? That he's lonely, that he wants a girlfriend. Has she found him a girlfriend? Would she be interested in dating older men? So when you think about those questions and you're talking about a governor, you're a staff, 26 years old, he's probably in his 50s, or I don't even know how old he is, coming in a room privately and him asking you about your personal life. And then on top of it, this young woman was a sexual abuse victim. So, and for some manner, some reason, either she told him about it or he knew about it. Apparently, he kept repeating to her over and over, oh, you were abused? Oh, so you were abused. Oh, so you've been sexually abused, like that, over and over to her. And she said it in the interview. So what is that saying? And what she said is that is a textbook definition of a sexual harassment predator, because they're
using your weakness for their power.
Exactly. Using your vulnerability to make it easier for you to feel like shit so that they can make a move.
Right.
And then you'll be like, you know what, this is okay because I've already been through it and I knew, I have no value. So it's okay for you to touch me like this because I already don't value myself, And I think that when she started saying that, I was like, damn, because this girl didn't even say she got touched. She said that the way he spoke to her made her feel like if she ever went there again, he was going to try to sexually abuse her. Some people could say she's lying. Some people could say she's literally just looking for attention.
When you talk about lying, it's almost like a lot of that behavior happens with no witnesses. And so that bleeds into the court system.
Right.
Is like that witness bullshit. A lot of rape and like sexual harassment doesn't like, what you think? They're going to do it at fucking 7-Eleven? With the cashier?
Right. In front of everybody?
No,
like,
they're going to pull you in a room and they're going to do it there.
Right.
There's no witnesses.
Right.
So that's why investigations as a whole is important, because in no way, shape, or form am I saying women lie, but I'm just saying investigations as a whole, period, is important.
Yeah.
Period.
100%.
And so it's their job, they're trained to figure out how to convict or not convict.
Yeah.
And so, but also understanding how the court is kind of like fucked, because not always witnesses are going to be able to help convict a rapist or a sexual harassment harasser, whatever, predator.
Yeah.
So, because it happens in rooms with just you and them and whoever the hell. So,
right. It's like it's just hard too, because there's no like hardcore evidence. It's not like that moment was videotaped. It's like that moment is now spoken word. Yeah, exactly. And so a lot of people, coming against her and hating on her, and her coming out and saying like, she said in the video, like, why would I ever want to be sitting here saying this? Do you know what I mean? And then I thought about it as a young woman, like, yo, if I'm a young woman and I worked for the governor and he sexually harassed me, I would be so fucking embarrassed to talk about it. Like, I would feel like it was my fault. I'd be like, did I wear something wrong?
Right.
Like, nobody's going to believe me, or like everyone's going to think I'm just like trying to get attention. You know what I mean? And then when I think about though, think about the future. Like I said, think about like your future husband having to like see this or like whatever. It's like, do you really want to put yourself in interviews and having to lie about something over and over? Why would you lie? Why would you even say it? Do you know what I mean? And she kind of said that. She was like, you know, like, I'm sitting here telling the truth and it's hard enough. Imagine if I was sitting here lying. I couldn't even imagine how stressful it would be.
Especially going through an investigation.
Right.
Like, it's one thing, again, separate from the Me Too movement. Like, people go on Twitter or like they're little stars from Love and Hip Hop and they do a complete lie.
Yeah.
But if you're going to go through an actual court and trial and all that stuff, like, who's going to do all of that if it's a lie? But people do lie. People, I'm not talking about women or men, it doesn't matter. Yep. People do lie about certain shit, but I don't think somebody's going to go through all of that to lie.
Yep.
It's just whether or not they have enough proof. It's just the name of the game of the court system.
And then on top of that, besides the 2 that came out, there is 9 other women who are also claiming different sexual harassment charges. Like I said, I'm not somebody to say that it's facts or fiction, but I just think it's something that needs to be spoke about. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a very important topic. It's something that keeps reoccurring in businesses. Now that women feel more comfortable speaking about it, and now that women feel more comfortable speaking about it, a lot of people are saying, oh, you're lying. Well, why are we lying? Because we didn't say it before? Because we were put down? Because we felt like we didn't have a voice?
Right.
Now that we have a voice, and when we speak about it, we're being told that we're liars. So I think it's very... And I'm not saying there aren't people who like claim rape and are lying, because, you know, sometimes there are. You know, it's not that in all of history there weren't women who said that sexual things have happened with guys and they were lying because they were mad at the guy or whatever the case may be. There has to be 2 sides to everything. I think that's just what I want everyone to stand.
Investigation is important, period. I'm not a judge.
Yes.
I'm not here to tell that all women are telling the truth. All women are it's not my place.
Right.
But if it happened to you, speak up. I hope that you can go through the process to convict if conviction is necessary. It's just an uphill battle.
Yeah. And then I just want to throw out there too, I don't know if you've heard this, but so pretty much overnight before he resigned yesterday, 2 of his staff members quit. So one was his direct aide who worked with him.
Male?
Female.
Oh, yeah.
His direct female aide who worked with him, who they said in the media was the one who was protecting him from these allegations. So every time these allegations would come up, she would be the person like, no, like denying it, going to talk for him, like saying this is why it didn't happen, blah, blah, blah. The other person who resigned was a female. She was the head of the sexual harassment department within the company, like within the government. So her job was to like make sure like anything that was inappropriate, like everything goes through her. She resigns. So both of these women resign overnight before him giving his resignations. I'm confused. You feel me? Like, I'm confused. Why? So why, if they know, if they support him, if they know they've been his right-hand women this whole time, why would you resign? You feel me? Because you know something's off.
Right.
You know
or
something's
you dropped
off.
The ball, so again, I don't know.
And this is just facts. Like,
I'm
going off people literally giving their resignation. I'm not like just making this shit up.
Right.
You dropped the ball.
Right.
Like, you were not what you said you were, and you lied. You either lied to them or you made them lie.
Right.
You know. Now I feel like I am taking a side. Now I feel like I am being biased. Fuck! Also, young world, we out here.
Yeah, you're like, I'm gonna go into this very neutral, but
but
fuck him.
Yeah, pretty much.
He did that shit.
And you know, to kind of wrap it back up, because we were talking about this earlier. So for those of you who don't know, Andrew Cuomo is the governor of New York. Chris Cuomo is one of the head anchors on CNN, which is one of the biggest news stations out there. And they're literally brothers. So pretty much Andrew Cuomo gives his resignation today. 2 days ago, Chris Cuomo went on vacation because the 9th of August is his birthday. So,
well, from a media standpoint, a lot of people go have a hiatus in August, and my show, The View, is one of them. But I'm not defending him. I'm just saying. It's kind of...
No, go ahead, say it. We need all sides. But
August is a month that a lot of the media, like a lot of like the entertainment industry, either shuts down. Just like in December, too. So I don't know if it's convenient, but I'm going to go with that.
And they said in all of the articles I've read, a long planned vacation. Excuse me. So they've had like
the whole time. So here we
I
are.
just like spit all over Biba. I don't know what happened. But like from a long time ago that he already had this vacation pre-planned. So they're trying to say it's not a coincidence that Andrew's giving his resignation on the same week that Chris went on vacation. But as I was telling Biba,
which I think is it could be a coincidence, but go ahead.
It could be. It could be. You don't know. We don't know. We don't know shit. You know what I'm saying? You could take this vacation. You could literally plan it 3 days ago and been like, you know what? I'm gonna get out of here.
Right, I'm out.
Before you give your resignation, I want to be pressed by the media. I want to be on the news. Imagine how much stress that is. It's your brother. You know what I'm saying? That is literally your blood. But either way, so pretty much Andrew resigned. But at this point, they're trying to cancel Chris. So they're saying because Andrew resigned and now
he's trying to cancel Chris?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So because he resigned, he's out of office. They're saying now Chris should step back at CNN because he knows information that he's been withholding and he's not reporting on. How do you feel about that?
Okay. Definitely shouldn't be canceled. He didn't do that. He wasn't involved in the act. Now, whether I believe that it's his obligation to speak on it because he's in a platform where he's a news deliverer.
Oh, wait. So for everyone listening in, Chris Cuomo has been told by CNN that he cannot report on this topic because conflict of interest is his brother.
I don't agree with that. I just think that it's his obligation to report on it. He doesn't have to give an opinion on it. But if we're going to go back and forth, if Fox was to do that for the other team, we would be talking shit about it. So you don't have to give your opinion, but if it's in New York and you're in New York and CNN is based out of New York, then it's your obligation to deliver the headline and say something.
Right.
That's my thing. You know what role you play when you are or have a platform like that. And if your brother is in a political game, you know that you're going to talk about him. You can not only talk about him when it's good. If you weren't built for that, you shouldn't be there. Now, again, I'm not telling you to bash him. I'm not telling you to give your opinion. I'm not telling you to use it as a chance to defend him. It is your job, in my opinion, to deliver the news. If that's the news, you deliver it.
Do you feel like it's a conflict of interest, though, for him to be put in the spot?
I think it's a conflict of interest if he was to give an opinion. Because if at that point he's trying to influence his viewers to believe what he's believing.
So you're saying if he's straight factual, like this is what's going on right now.
Right, this is what's happening. Andrew Cuomo, my brother, because everybody knows, we've been on this show mad times. He's been charged with a sexual assault. With a sexual assault. Whatever.
I got you.
So, I don't, and then give your opinion on sexual assault, maybe. Use it, but it's your job. Like, you don't get to pick and choose what news you report. Yes, it happens. You do get to pick and choose. Networks pick and choose what perspective. Yes. But I think that you would have reported on it if it was DeSantis from fucking Florida. I guarantee you would have.
Right.
But because it's your brother, your job is your job and his job is his job.
Right.
He had to resign. It is your job to say, my brother was charged with sexual assault and he was forced to resign. I don't believe in sexual assault, blah, 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 blah. I'll leave it to the court system to convict him. Boom. I'm doing my job by delivering the latest, and I'm telling you that I personally don't believe in sexual assault. And I'm going to leave it at that. Like,
I don't know how I feel on it, because then I'm thinking like, yo, like the stress and the pressure that puts on you to report about your own sibling. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe they should leave that up to another person, because at that point, then it's personal. You know what I'm saying?
He has the primetime hour.
He does have the primetime hour.
You know what you're getting into. Biba. Right. You know what you're getting into. It is what it is. And you're in the political world. Your brother is in the political world. You have a political family. Yeah. At that point.
Well, you're both powerful figures. Right. So that puts you in a.
And I love Chris Cuomo, but at the same time, you would 100% call out a Trumper in a second.
In 1 second.
In 1 second.
Yo.
And so whether they want to be open-minded enough to say that they would hold themselves accountable, I like to make sure that, like, if you're going to tell someone, like, speak up, make sure I'm going to speak up if I was in that position as well. And so you have a duty, and your duty is to deliver the news. Your brother's in the news. Don't give an opinion. Give what everyone else knows.
Question for you.
What is it?
What if CNN is telling Chris he cannot report on the news, and if he does, he's going to lose his fucking job? Then what? Richie, step in. I know you want to say something.
If that's the case, it's very black and white. Just don't do it. That's it.
That's facts. Okay. So if you're being put between your job and reporting on your own family, don't do it. Don't do it.
I mean, I guess if it's for, I don't know. To me, I'm going to go with, I don't know what I would do if I was in that position because I don't have that type of coin, number one, where you would have to pick between your job and your brother. Mm-hmm. Not to say I would sell myself for a coin. That's not what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
But what I'm saying is that I can't, no one knows until you're in it. But what I'm saying is that could be played in all sides.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And if you're in a we're not talking about me here in Massachusetts. We're talking about someone with a platform delivering news of all kinds. Mm-hmm. If you're going to call out another team, make sure you hold yourself to the same accountability. And that goes for every angle. Right. That's all I'm saying. Right. So if CNN is going to talk shit about, because they talk shit about how Fox spews fake news on the vaccines, all those things, that can go on for hours. You need to hold yourself to a better standard in order to have foot on the ground to call out bullshit like that happens on Fox News. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to hold myself to the same standard that you do because I want to represent me. Yeah. And if you're not going to talk on it, that's on you. But if I'm going to call you out on some bullshit, I need to call myself out on some bullshit. Right. And so I want my audience to know that regardless of what happens, I'm choosing this job. And if my job is to report the news, then I'm going to give you the news. I don't have to give you an opinion. I can give you the news. Mm. And if everybody else is talking about it and I'm not talking about it, I just think it's some bullshit. So what if CNN is making me choose, then everything else has been that all the producers that are choosing what topics are being spoken about, I mean, it trickles down. Mm-hmm. I don't want to hear no shit on Fox News. Yeah. I don't want to hear no shit. Mm-hmm. Moving forward, I don't want to hear no shit. Because if they're spewing fake news about vaccines and about this, and they're not going to talk bad about DeSantis, but they're going to talk bad about Biden, you can't talk shit about that because you're doing the same shit. Right. Right. Exactly. I feel you. No, I completely feel you. And I think right now it's just such a tough position because this is his job. Right. This is Chris's job. And he's not him though. For me, like I would never want to talk people. I would never want to talk bad about my sister ever in my life. Right, same. But if she's in the headlines for something and there was an investigation, a thorough investigation, and she was charged with something, I'm going to deliver the news. Right.
Or go on vacation.
Or go on vacation, go in your yacht.
But when I come back, I'm going to say, God bless America. Right, or something. Like, I don't even know. But I'm just going to say, like, no, I don't know. I'm going to stand with that. You can't pick and choose your battles. If you're going to sit there and call people on their bullshit, that's what fake people do. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, like, you're fake as shit. But when it's my turn, it's like, nah, I'm justifying it. Yeah. Be better.
Yeah, exactly. And well, I think it's just a hard position now because
resign.
He's gonna have to come back from vacation at one point, right? Okay. So what they're saying is because Andrew resigned, now Chris should resign. So that's what's being put out there. It should be a double resignation. So
I don't think that's warranted, but whatever.
I don't think so either but think about it though. When he comes back to his job at CNN, what's going to be covered for the next month and a half or 2 months? The trials of what's going on with these sexual harassment victims, what's going to go on with him being charged, whatever, right? If this is going to go to court, if the court proceedings are going to go on, who knows the extent of how far this is going to go. So then what is CNN going to say to Chris? So what, every time this is being covered, you're going to be off air or you're not going to speak about it? Only your co-anchor is going to speak about it? Now we're put in a very uncomfortable position where nobody knows what the fuck to do. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I don't know. Like, I do feel neutral because I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what to do with Chris. I don't know if he should come back. I don't know if he should resign, take some time off, slip back in, make a funny joke, get people to like you again. Like, yo, at this point with two such high up political people in power being brothers in such an indulged scandal of sexual harassment, like, yo, this is something like unprecedented is how I feel.
Well, I mean, if you want to run what you talk about, then run your own podcast like you do. Woo! You understand what I'm saying? So if you want to, but you don't run what you do. You work for CNN and it's a news source. Report the news. That's what I'm saying.
I feel that facts. I feel those facts. I feel them. I do.
Don't pick and choose.
Don't pick and choose, but it's also tough to choose if your company is telling you you cannot report on that. Do you know what I'm saying?
He's rich.
What
so
if
then
I had,
resign.
like-
Okay, so resign and then say I'm gonna go over there, or I'm gonna do my own shit, or whatever the case may be. I mean, that's rich people problems. He's loaded.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to talk about it, you know, I mean, it's gonna impact your say moving forward in some way, shape, or form. Period.
Right.
And don't compare yourself to Fox News, because to me, I would never want to do that. Like, I would never want to compare myself to you. Like, I'm me. So I'm going to hold myself to the same opinion and standards that I would expect you to.
Exactly.
And so if you don't want to call me, if I'm going to call you out, I'm going to call me out too.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, then I'll peace out and work on real estate. I don't know, make money another way.
And see, the thing is, I just want people to know from my perspective that I do agree with you, because I feel like, you know, it's tough for me. I do feel both ways, but like, if you have chosen that as your job, you're in communications, we both have gone to school for communications and journalism, you have to be forward, you have to be upfront, and you have to report the facts. If it is a fact, if it is happening in the public sector, you need to report upon it. You know what I'm saying? And if you're told otherwise, well, then you're kind of taking away freedom of speech, and you're not reporting on what you're supposed to be doing. You're not doing your job. You know, so like I said, or like you said, as long as he said it, but it was not biased, you know what I mean? Like, this is what is happening.
Just read the teleprompter.
It's unfortunate. I don't
Andrew
agree
Cuomo
with it.
Was been charged with
my
such and such.
brother, Governor Andrew Cuomo, has been charged with sexual harassment, sexual assault. I will not be maybe speaking about it forward going on. I am acknowledging it. Do you know, I think that's a thing.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, I couldn't get the word out, but the acknowledgement of what is went on is very important to many men and women watching CNN and trusting CNN.
He has a responsibility.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're putting you in a position where now thousands, millions, hundreds of people are watching you, expecting you to tell them about something, and you're keeping it hush hush. You're putting it under the rug. You're not doing your job.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? Even if they're telling you not to do it, well, then they're not doing their job.
Right, 100%.
So, I don't know. That's how I feel about shit. That's how I feel
That's
about
my
it.
opinion.
That's my opinion.
But I'm not Chris Cuomo, so who?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and I think that's the thing. Everyone listening in, everyone judging off this, you know, situation going on in the media right now, we can only have our own opinions, our own facts. We'll never know the full truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if like the full proceedings come out, you never know the full truth.
Well, fuck the truth for me. The truth is, to me, the truth is
Your
there.
own truth
but
is-
no one's gonna really know what would they do in that situation until they're in that situation. So I would hope that I would hold myself to the same standard.
Hold yourself accountable. You know, even if it's your sibling, you have an accountability to report on it.
Right.
If you guys feel different, please drop a comment. Let us know how
100%.
you feel. We would love to hear from you. I would love to hear from you, and just to know like what's going on in your mind. And you know, I think, you know, one thing about all of this is it all goes on through social media, which we talked about, and I think we both have kind of a love-hate relationship with social media, because it's like, I don't know. Like, I grew up in a different generation. Like, I'm still trying to get used to the fact that everything is put out over media on Instagram or TikTok or Twitter. Like, that is not how I grew up. I didn't have a cell phone when I was in like middle school. I don't know. I think I got one. When did I get one? Maybe it was the very start of high school. You're gonna draw my ages?
Okay, just kidding. No ages. Okay, just
Damn,
kidding.
you're gonna draw my age on
All right,
air?
just kidding. Wait, so no, did I have a phone in middle school? I think I did.
Damn. Maybe I had one at the end of
Maybe
middle
high
school. I
school?
might be lying.
Yeah, maybe high school.
It was like a flip phone,
But there
like
was
a
no social
Razor or
media.
some shit.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Nextel, Razor, you know,
Like,
that Puerto Rican hood rush shit.
we weren't on Instagram, Twitter. We weren't on all that shit. That wasn't even a thing.
Hell no.
No.
Imagine if I was sending like nudes in high school. Forget it.
It'd be over. You'd be famous right now.
Bitch. No, I had no body.
Just kidding.
So I would have a lot of proof of nothing.
Stop.
But
where did all this body come from?
I feel like trying my best.
Hey, working on your fitness. Up in the gym, just working on it.
Social media, you need to have a healthy relationship with it. However you need to use it, use it. Just don't let it consume your entire life. Unless it's your business. You can use it as a business for sure.
Yeah. And like we said, it's a tool.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? But a tool can be used in a good way and a bad way. You can hammer a nail into a piece of wood. You can hammer someone's head and kill them. I'm sorry, that was very graphic. But like, what the fuck?
She's a writer.
You know what I'm saying though? It can be used
It's like, I was
positive and
thinking something
negative.
really different. I was like, use Twitter, use Instagram, or you can just like fucking hammer a fucking wood or hammer a person. I mean, it depends where your head's at, but for sure.
Yeah. Just as a very visual graphic for all my people listening in. Maybe you're a little morbid. Who knows? But I just feel like it's so different nowadays because like everyone feels like their opinion is the main opinion. You send out a tweet, you are the main person. Like you are the all end all be all. Like no, like we all just have an opinion, and it's like I said to you earlier, like. Bitch, who's TikTok? Who is this bitch?
Right.
I don't know her. Like,
first of all, the people with the most opinions
TikTok.
have like 50 followers. So go ahead and tell your cousin and your neighbor that you don't like Chris Cuomo because no one's listening to you.
You heard?
Like, girl, bye.
Girl, bye.
Right. like only like worry about yourself if you have a platform in the sense that like where you're actually causing some type of influence. Me, I don't have an influence like that. So you're going to get a gym pic from me. You know what I mean?
Your gym pics be looking fire, though.
I mean, so you're going to get a gym pic from me and that's it. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Just don't let it consume you because I think that it 100% distracts you from what you want to focus on. And that's why, for me, I would suggest people having breaks for them.
And this is coming from a journalism, like, master's, like, fucking person.
It's
like
24-hour news. And I think it's you need to have a healthy relationship. Give yourself a time limit or just give yourself, like, a month off or something like that. Because, like, you forget that, like, life, like, in, like, that's tangible.
Yeah.
You forget that shit happens because you're so consumed on your phone.
Yeah.
So I think, like, take a break.
And it's hard. Like, even, like, I was telling you off air, like, I'll be catching myself caught up hours on my phone if I go on Instagram sometimes to a point where, like, because I post weekly for the podcast, whether it be, like, just a post or a video or usually both. So it's usually, like, 2 posts a week.